Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Saturday. It's Daryl here. It is bright and freaking early, man. It's 3:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Yes, I am psyched this morning. I have a terrific video for you guys. I woke up in the middle, well, what I call the middle of the night, and I always check the news feed because I want to get these stories here as soon as I can. The newest stories, and I got a good one that just came out this morning. Okay, if you're my age. If you remember the Burger King commercial, it takes two hands to handle a Whopper, a two-fisted burger from Burger King. All right, I actually have that commercial, the link to that down below. It takes two hands to handle a Whopper. That's all. That's all I could think of when I think about this story this morning about Lauren Boebert. Man, some more footage has come to light. Them being in this theater. Let me start at the smallest of these things, and I'll work my way up to the big two-fisted Whopper story. All right. Initially, apparently, she told her staff she denied vaping. She denied that she ever did that, and then she had to come forward because the video. I'll link to that too. The video down below. The link down below will show the video where she reaches under the seat and she takes something to her mouth and then blows out a big cloud of vape. So she had to admit that. So she just she put out a press release apologizing and making excuses for not remember. She didn't recall vaping. Let me say this. I'll admit this. I have vaped in places where I shouldn't. And to be honest with you, she talks about stress and about vaping. And honestly, I could relate. I'm not making excuses for her, but I could relate to that. Because I'm going to admit something here I probably shouldn't. I went on a flight about, I don't know, it's about 8 or 10 years ago. And we were stuck at an airport in Atlanta. And we were stuck, the bathrooms were working in the plane. We were stuck on the tarmac for 2 or 3 hours, and I had a vape in my bag, and I snuck it out. And it was so warm outside and humid, you could see air vapor coming in from the AC, from the vents. So it kind of blended in, and I snuck the vape, because I was so stressed out. I couldn't move my legs. I'm so tall and everything. I remember I couldn't even move my legs, and I took a few hits from my vape inside the plane. And I'll tell you this though, people do do vape under stress. But I'll tell you this, I remember doing that. You remember when you vape somewhere you're not supposed to because of your nerves and everything. What if I get caught doing this? So this whole, I could relate to her, vaping in a stressful situation, but this part about her not remembering it and all this other BS about she let down her morals and all this other stuff is a bunch of BS. Here, let me read her press release first. And remember, this is the smallest of the stories I have this morning. Okay, this is what she said. She said, "There is no perfect blueprint for going through a difficult divorce, which over the last few months has made it a challenging personal time for me and my entire family. I've tried to handle it with strength and grace. I've tried to handle it with strength." That's going to come in later in this story. She tried to handle it with strength. Okay. And grace, as best I could. I can, but I simply fell short of my values on Sunday, and that's unacceptable, and I'm sorry. Whether it was the excitement of seeing a much anticipated production or the natural anxiety of being in a new environment, I wonder if the new environment is just she's never been to a theater show before, or if she was dating, she was out in the dating world. Being out in the dating world can't be stressful. Like I said, I'm not making excuses for her, but I'll be honest. The parts of this I can relate to. Okay. I generally do not recall vaping. That's bull. Anytime I've done this, like I remember vaping in a mall one time too. You remember when you do something you're not supposed to. It's not something that just slips your memory. And I discussed I generally do not recall vaping when I discussed the night's events with my campaign team, while confirming my enthusiasm for the musical. It starts to turn into a word salad. Regardless of my belief, it's clear now that was not accurate. It was not my campaign's intention to mislead, but we do understand the nature of how this looks. Okay, so she fessed up. Now this, remember, she's just apologizing for the vaping incident now. You know, she let down her, what did she call it? Her morals, or her fell short, or her values. So she let down her values by vaping, and that's interesting because she doesn't mention a lot of what she was doing, the other stuff she and her date were doing in this theater. Here's the next piece. Now, there's basically three parts to this. That was the first part, the vaping, and she fessed up to that because she was caught on film. So she had to fess up to it. All right. Now, she's dating a Democrat, a tried and true blue Democrat. Bar owner Quinn Gallagher, 46 years old, the divorced father from Rifle, Colorado. Apparently, Rifle is right, they're two hometowns right next to each other. And, I can relate to that. But she's dating, she always talks about Democrats are so evil, and, we are the root of all evil. We can't be trusted, and we're all liars. But there's something that's attracting her to this one Democrat, and I think I know what that is. Okay. Now, on to the big one here. This is something, like I said, it takes two hands to handle a whopper. The other thing that came to mind, remember Donald Trump saying that when you're famous, you can do that. You can grab them by the, in this case, you can grab them by the crotch, not by the pee. Remember that? She must have took Donald Trump's advice to heart. So there's video. I'll put this video right down, the link right on top. Where they're actually feeling each other up in the theater. I think it starts off with her just reaching over and grabbing him between the legs. And then throughout most of this video, he's got one, remember, they're sitting in a lit theater here. And he's got one hand, he's pawing her breast. His hand's just on there, on her breast. Then that must have affected her because she reaches over with both hands and puts both hands into his groin region and uses two hands to handle the whopper. Her Democrat dates whopper. Hey, at least she's got a good. She's decided to go for a good choice in men. I've always thought that maybe size does matter in this. I always had the feeling that Republicans and conservatives might be a little lacking below the waist, and I don't know. I think this might confirm that. Like I said, the links will all be down below. Man, I could go on. I'm sure as soon as I shut this video off, I'm going to have like 10 more lines or jokes that I could think of to tell you guys. I'll probably do another video on this, but so she doesn't talk about this at all. About, she just talks about her values and what she was when she was vaping in the theater, but she hasn't talked about this at all yet. How she was what came to mind too. What about kids? What about the whole she's one, along with Mary Tyler Greene. She's one of these people that are beating up on that's all enraged about the LGBTQ community and the drag shows not being good for the children. What about the children? I did not Google this. I had meant to Google this, but I'm pretty sure that children under 18 are allowed into theaters to see like shows like Beetlejuice. I don't know what time this show was, but I have to assume that it's not. It's got to be a show that people under 18 are seeing. So she has no problems with performing these acts in full view of kids under 18, and that's okay. That's no problem. It's just another example of do what I say, not what I do. Hypocrisy. All right, I'll be back later with another video. You guys have a great Saturday.